Everybody doing? Um, would love it if you could maybe just write in the chat if you are seeing me and that this is working okay. That gives me a tremendous amount of comfort. Just super super pumped to share with everybody today. Um, as some of you may know, my name is Peter Lahai. That's the way my name is spelled. I'm probably more famously known as Hi Tamara, as Melinda Lahai's husband. Melinda, as you guys know, is the Belief Trainers Director for Igniting Hope, and hey, Sherry. And I did my third year with Steve Backlund last year, and just have the tremendous privilege of just getting to share a little bit about hey Tamara, share a little bit about what just God has been speaking to me about, just kind of more in the recent days, and so just super super excited to share with that. And as you guys know, uh, my story, I love being vulnerable. I feel like that's kind of the only way, and so you guys will get a little bit of that. But I titled this talk "Building Legacy," and it's something that I I'd say I'm really interested about, with just with my family and with Melinda and I, and the the scripture I want to focus on, um, that really I think exemplifies it, maybe at the earliest point, at least in my heart now, is in Exodus 31. And in Exodus 31, there's a moment where there's a character in the Bible that's highlighted, and this person, I would say, is sort of glazed over a little bit, and this character is Bezalel, and and I wanted to share a little bit about this story of Bezalel and unpack it, and talk a little bit about the when we're building legacy, the why we're building legacy, the with who we're building legacy with, and then ultimately what it's unto. So what are we building legacy for? Like, what is, hi Sarah, what are we building legacy for? And I know that, whether it's even just writing a book, starting a ministry, starting a business, maybe even trying to build legacy just in your family. Maybe you're pioneering for something that's very, very different in your family, that your past family lines have never done before. But it's this idea of um, really trying to be the tip of the spear and move forward, and just feeling like you have like a dream on your heart, or you feel like there's a calling, and you sense that you've had prophetic words, and you want to step into that. And I really believe that, from this talk, people are going to hear things clearly from God about where they want to go with purpose, and that there is going to be a tremendous a wake of favor that follows you after this call. So in this going back to Exodus 31 here with Bezalel, I love this story, and I love the stories about what God does, who He uses, how He uses them, and all these things that are just so encouraging in my life. And I'll start by reading some of the scripture. Some of you may know this story already, and some of you may not. But it starts off and it says, "And the Lord said to Moses, See, I have called by name." And I want to kind of emphasize the word called. He doesn't say he doesn't say call. He doesn't say I'm calling. He says called. And it's funny because when he says called, it's like he knew already. It's like I've done it. I've done it in the past. I've already done it. And he said, I've called by name the son of Uri, the son of Ur, and the tribe of Judah, and I've filled him with the Spirit of God in wisdom and ability and understanding and intelligence and in knowledge and in all kinds of craftsmanship. And it goes on. But when God starts off with this, and he calls us by name, or he's called us by name in the past. He he does it by identifying not only who the person is, but the lineage. And I love this because, actually was one of the guys who was holding up Moses' arm, right, when Joshua was fighting the war. And I'm sensing that some of you on this call are actually going to reap favors from family members that have been specifically praying for you. And that there is going to be a moment where you are filled with this Spirit of God, this Spirit of wisdom, the Spirit of understanding, the Spirit of knowledge. And it is through the prayers from prior family members. And it is, I mean, I am a result of that. I'm a result of my grandmother's prayers, Melinda's prayers, and our prayers are so powerful. And what they do is they unleash strategy to build legacy. That's what it does. That's the story of Bezalel in essence. And so some of you guys may know that God goes on and he essentially tells Moses, like, here's the blueprint. This is what I want Bezalel to do. I want Bezalel to build me a tabernacle. And he gives all these specific details on exactly how to do it. Now, what's funny is that at the time when God is saying this, Bezalel is about 13 years old. Now, I can only imagine like what a 13-year-old would feel given this instruction to say from God that first of all says that he's the one called out by name. Out of all the Israelites, that everybody is there. Moses comes out and says, "No, God called you Bezalel." And to say that Bezalel may have felt a little bit disqualified, I think would probably be a huge understatement. And I know that I felt that way in my life with things that God is calling me to do right now. To say that I feel unqualified, even doing this call on some levels. Like I've only been saved 8 years, or people have been raised in the church. They've had, like I love how Steve jokes around about like heads regrowing, raising the dead. And I haven't seen that. And sometimes there's that lie that comes in that says, I'm not the right person to be doing this. I'm not qualified enough. Bezalel, he's 13 years old. He's called by name from God. He's filled with Spirit. It's the first time in the Bible that anybody is filled with the Spirit of God. And Moses says he's filled with the Spirit of God. I can only imagine the Israelites are like, we've never heard of that. What does that even mean to be filled by the Spirit of God? And here's this 13-year-old kid who's being filled with the Spirit of God. I mean, man, oh man, sometimes that's how I feel in my life. I'm like, God, what you're asking me to do is too big. I'm just not ready. I'm just not there yet. So this story goes on, and he gives Bezalel some specific instructions. But what he also says is he says, um, and I've appointed with him with Aelab, um, and all of those who are wise-hearted. He basically says, hey, listen, Bezalel, I'm giving you this blueprint to build this tabernacle. But I'm not asking you, and I'm not even expecting you to do it on your own. And I'm going to send you the wise-hearted. And I love that word, the wise-hearted, the wise-hearted. And I'm believing that actually on this call there are some of you who may feel stuck. You have this thing that you're building, and you're like, but I don't know how to do it. I don't have the resources. I don't have the help. I don't have the people to help me. And that God is bringing you the wise-hearted. So this story goes on, which is incredible, because it goes on to then say that not only is he bringing him the wise-hearted, but he's also giving him all the resources, because he gives him what he's asking Bezalel to build is not cheap. It is not cheap. The resources that it requires are extraordinarily expensive. If we had to convert it to today's currency, we were talking about in the millions and millions of dollars. And he just tells Bezalel, I just want you to build it. And so Bezalel is like, I don't know how. I don't know the right people, and I don't have the money and the resources to do it. There's something about the obedience that Bezalel carries. It's this 13-year-old kid. He's been called out by God, and he's filled with this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And he just says, okay. okay, God, if you're on this, it's your will, it's your bill. And that's what happens. And I think when we talked about earlier about like this idea about when you have legacy and it's the, how am I going to do it? Well, you get an idea. You just get a strategy, right? That God gives. But with whom he sends you help. He sends you people. He sends you people. And Melinda and I always love talking about this, about like who is God surrounding us around right now to help us with this dream of our legacy, creating legacy. But when he also talks about like what we're building, what he's asked Bezalel to build is a tabernacle. And that word tabernacle means a dwelling place of God, a dwelling place of God. And so, whatever it is we're building, whether we're writing books, creating a ministry, a business, even a family, it's a dwelling place for God. It's a place for God to rest, for all his glory to come. And it's all unto that. And sometimes we get, excited about like what we're building and what we're doing. And I remember when I was writing a book, thinking about all the ways it was going to impact people. I was also stuck because I didn't know how to make a cover. I didn't know how to publish a book. I didn't know like what all that meant. But people just came. People just showed up. God brought me people, and it just one thing just led to the next. And I love that, in this moment with Bezalel, where he gets this blueprint. Now it takes him a while, right, to build all this stuff. I'm shocked that he doesn't just maybe make changes on the fly, right? I mean, how many times when we're doing things and we're like, well, I think that, because of this, it'd probably be a good idea to do it this way. And we have the best of intentions to want to modify it and go on the fly. But God gave him very specific instructions on exactly how to do it. And Bezalel didn't deviate. He didn't deviate at all from those instructions. He just built exactly what God told him to build it and exactly the way to build it. And what I love about this legacy is we don't know much about Bezalel. He's, like I said, he's just kind of grazed over in the Bible. We don't know if he married. We don't know if he had kids, but we do know that the tabernacle that he built was in existence and was used for about 400 years until Solomon built the temple. I can only imagine the amount of people that were influenced by that tabernacle that he built, by his obedience to just build it exactly the way God built it, to just have that trust and that belief that God was behind it, no matter what, no matter how impossible it might have seemed for him to build that. He just went on. He just went on and he did it. And I would imagine he had children, and I would imagine just the stories of just hearing about, dad, grandpa's perseverance to build this thing and to be the first person to be called out by name and to be filled with the Spirit of God. Nobody else had ever heard of that. And I believe that there are a lot of people on this call who just need to hear that word. We just need to hear that you are filled with the Spirit of God. All of the same grace, all of the same anointing that Bezalel received is in you. And you have that. And the dreams that are on your heart, whether it's for family or whatever, all these things that you are building, you're building a tabernacle for God. You're building a dwelling place for God. It may look different. It may come in the form of a book, a ministry, a business, a family. But what you're building is a legacy of a dwelling place for God. Something that generations and generations are going to step into. You're going to just, thank you, Dana. I really believe that there is going to be just increased revelation speaking to you on the strategy, on how to do it. I believe that you're going to be surrounded by people, that the wise-hearted, that God is going to bring you the wise-hearted, the people who have specific talents for what you need. So, All right, let me catch up on my notes here, guys. Um, and I love, at Igniting Hope and up here in Reading with Bethel Church, it's very presence focused, and I love that. That's one of the things about what we're building. This tabernacle, this dwelling place, is very presence focused, and and again, like whatever you're building, sometimes we think it may not be portable, right? Like a business may not be something that's called tangible, like something that you can move from place to place. But it is, because your family and your legacy, they all associate with it. And it may even be something you write. And if it's a family, of course, it's like your lineage. But the presence of God in that, the why we build what we build, the why we create what we create, it's for that. It's a dwelling place for His presence. It's a place for, just um, you know um, just the glory of God to fall down onto, and just for the glory of the Lord to fill that tabernacle that you are building, and for all of your family and all of your lineage and your legacy to just catch on to that glory, to catch on to that just presence of God and what that means and how special that is. And I can only imagine, like, again, like how Bezalel felt when he gets called out and someone says, God told me that you're the guy, you're the woman, to do this. I love how Steve says, nobody can say it like you can say it. Well, there's some things that nobody can do like you can do it, because you're doing it unto this glory, to get His presence. Nobody can build the dream in your heart that God has put in your heart the way you can. Only you can do it. And God is going to make a way. God is going to give you the resources. And so, I think that's about it, guys. I wanted to just share with you and just inspire, just give inspiration and give hope that, whatever season you're in, whatever you're building, whatever you're dreaming of building, and even if you maybe don't know, maybe you're like, I don't know what I'm called to do. I don't know what my purpose is. Don't don't be alarmed. Bezalel used a 13-year-old kid to build a tabernacle. He can use any one of us. And if there is a lie out there that says it's too late, I've done too much to not be called by name, that is a lie. That's not a truth. God speaks to us. His word is life. His word is life. And I believe that just from this call, people are going to start getting just revelation about what God is calling them to do. You are not disqualified. Nobody can do it like you. And I just bless you. I bless you all on this call, all the people that are watching this on the replay. You are worthy of being called by name. God knows your name. People have been praying for you. People are praying for you. You are highly favored. You're highly favored, and you're not disqualified. You're more qualified than anybody else in the world for that dream that God has put on your heart. And I bless you, and I'm so thankful for being able to share this with you. And just hope everybody has a blessed rest of the day. Love you guys. Bye bye.